chord, bring it back, get that 808 in there.
In the evening, down on the corner, trying to bring you up on the corner. In the evening, down on the corner, on the corner, down, down on the corner. In the evening, down on the corner. On the corner, in the evening, down on the corner, on the corner, trying to bring you up. In the evening, on the corner, down, down, on the corner. Trying to bring you up, down on the corner, on the corner, down, on the corner, down on the corner, in the evening, on the corner, trying to bring you up. Down on the corner, on the corner, down, down on the corner, on the corner, trying to bring you up. In the evening, on the corner, down, down on the corner. On the corner, trying to bring you up. Down on the corner, on the corner, down, down, in the evening, on the corner, in the evening, down on the corner. Trying to bring you up on the corner. In the evening, down on the corner. On the corner. Down, down on the corner. In the evening, down on the corner. On the corner. In the evening, down on the corner, on the corner, trying to bring you up. In the evening, on the corner, down, down, on the corner. On the corner, on the corner, down on the corner, in the evening, on the corner, trying to bring you up.
All right. So that's how I made that track down on the corner. So what I'm gonna do real quick, run this through MPC, jump off. You already have everything there, so we're gonna put it in wavy, baby. And you can see, put it in wavy, baby. Export it. There we go. And in here you gotta put a little something different. This would be my third track. This is the one you're gonna hear on streaming platforms. This is the one I want. It's the better version. But hold up. You know what I'm gonna do? Hold up. I'm gonna just tweak it just a little bit and make sure I get the sound on the right level real quick. I apologize. I almost took off without doing that. Also have my DJ thing running in the background. This thing taking a moment. Get your ass up out of here. I don't need you no more. Keyboard. I'm up hella late. Okay, so right here, let me raise this up a little bit. All right, that way, then we're gonna find that one. There we go, right here. So we're gonna have that a little loud. And this will be the version you'll hear on the once again the streaming platform. I wanted to name it some stuff. I wanted to do a verse on this, but I wanted to get somebody. But you know, verses cost money with morons. So I'm just gonna make this another single. That's why I do singles, because you know when you're dealing with people, they always want money, 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 money. And that's one of the things I want to talk about in the roast from discussion. All right, so that's done. So we're gonna get rid of that. Bing bong. Bring back up the virtual DJ. We're gonna let this kind of push the whole screen. It's gonna die out in the back. All right, all right. Then we're gonna flip the script. As I flip the script, as you flip the script. And then we're gonna get back to the imagery of me. Ooh la la. Now on multiple music platforms. Right. I guess I think it's a few that I'm not on, but pretty much all. Once again, let me start this off a little better. I'm going to cut down my All right, all right, all right. You're in with me, MLRose, with the Rose Room discussion. Okay. So, um, we're going to start it off with the first topic. The first topic is, where did it start? Where did it all start? So, what I'm talking about, when I'm saying where did it all start, I'm talking about the whole existence of what we call society, these laws, these rules, these engagements of culture, of sexism, origins, dialogue, things of this nature. And I'm going to go back and do a little history work at the same time, but I'm going to just give you some information while I'm doing so. Um, and I'm going to talk to you about it as I go. And what I'm going to do is going to put in my personal sense, and I'm going to speak about it. So the first thing I'm going to go is like mankind comes from our origins, right? We all know the origins is in most documented, I guess, reading materials that we have, from the almanac to multiple different tablets, the Bible itself. So with that said, I'm going to pretty much try to figure out some information with that, using those type of things of that nature. Right now, my net is running slow because I probably have a lot of different things going on. I don't know why it's running so slow, but it should be running fast. But I don't know. When I'm doing my show, I guess everything kind of has a little tweak moment or something. I don't know what it is really. But yeah, that's the question that we're going to come to. And that question was, when was the Bible first created? And hopefully we can get a sound answer from that, because it seems like everything pretty much is dated before Christ. So before Christ, BC, before Christ, and then you have AD after the death of Christ. But in between, we don't really know. And before BC, we don't really have any type of knowledge thus far that we don't know of. Um, and where did it all start? Because it's multiple different empires that pretty much had possession of this whole, what we call Earth, our landmass. You have the Kushites, you have the Pangea. I would say whole format of all of the continents. Then on after that, you had multiple different ones. One of the ones that people don't talk about a lot is the Tartarian Empire. Um, a lot of their artwork is around right now, like it's actually still here. We just don't know that it's from them. It's been, how can I say, embezzled. It's been a kind of a topic for a while that people don't want to talk about, and they don't really give a lot of information and in depthness to the Tartarian Empire. Just like we know about California was not always connected to the landmass. Some of it was like Baja and the other parts of California was more in a water type area, but as the water receded, it kind of the landmass rise. So in a way, they kind of say that the island of we know that in the Bible or in many different formats, it tells you about fallen entities. Some people call them aliens. Some people call them Anunnaki. Some people call them different names, the different interpretation, demigods or demis, titans. You know, I'm just going to give you in my breakdown from my perspective of what I believe and think on my own theory. So this is on theoretical basis. This is not something that you can use as a actual fact, because everything is theory that we all deal with on a daily basis anyway. And theory comes from study, and then with study you link in that to a point to where now you have the actual proof and fact when you do the work and you figure it out. So yes, we want to know off top, when was the Bible created and by whom? So the Bible is a collection of writings. Wasn't written by one person at a specific time, but rather by many individuals over a long period, approximately 1400 years. So 1400 years, okay? The earliest part of the Old Testament dated back to around 1400 BC. That's before Christ, okay? And that is the traditional attribute to Moses. So Moses, we all know about Moses. We know about him going against um, the person that was in Egypt and Pharaoh. We know about their personal beef. We know about the waters, the sea that split. You know that the Most High gave him divine ordained power through his worship and the Holy Spirit, and through the praise to the Holy Spirit, the Messiah, and to the Heavenly Father, God. So we know that in that terminology. So 1400 years, you got to understand. At that time, the earth had changed. But remember, there's other stories before that. So we don't really know 100%. That's what I'm saying to you. Where did it all start? We know in the Bible, the word was the first thing. the word the Most High gave the state, let there be light. Then he created the planets. Then he created the wind. He created everything in existence. Okay, that's my belief and my faith. I don't know other people's belief. I don't know other people's traditional beliefs. They may have a different or similar belief, but this is what everybody goes off of. So where it started was they believe from a creator of all existence, which I believe the same thing. It has to be a creator of all existence because if you look outside, the sun and the moon dictates day and night. There's nothing in existence that can do that. It's been going on for 14 million years before we had this technology that we have now at this day and age. We don't have the technology anymore that they had in the past. For some reason, we can't reproduce that technology, which I find very strange because we're supposed to be in the 21st century and it's supposed to be the highly advanced technology at this day and age. But for some reason, we're not more advanced than the other empires that was before us. They can't reproduce the pyramids. They can make something similar, but they cannot make them in the same structure of diagram and format and what you would use if you were making like building blueprints, you know. So by multiple authors and schools of thought, the New Testament was written in the first century AD, and that's after Christ. So the first testament, the first piece of information that was pretty much able to be interpreted by what we call now in this civilization of this thus far of mankind after the death of the Messiah, we now have information, documentation, starting from when we can trace, okay, because the other individuals we couldn't trace back. We had to go by biblical texts of what they stated. And then when we go by biblical texts, we try to find on the map where these biblical texts or texts gives a certain demographic or a place or a country or a region. And then with that region, you take the text and then you find remnants of what was put in a place. Like, you know, when you're listening to a rapper and they tell you about, yeah, I'm from Brooklyn, blah, 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 where there's shootings and now, blah, blah, blah. I'm about to build into 812 or something, 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 and it's a man-made hell. Now, when you visit that place, you're going to look for all these traces of what they're talking about. You're going to see people on the block. You're going to may hear shooting. It's going to give you some remnants of what's the truth of what they're talking about. So that's what most biblical scholars do. They go back to the countries of origins where it happened at. They figure out what's going on. They dig up artifacts. They find old structures, monuments, the same thing as in the Bible. Then they say, oh, in this text or what this person said, it happened here. So from there, they can get some truth into what the person pretty much was saying. So this is what we do in this day and age. We want to research things, and plus at the tip of our fingers are what we call phones. You know, phones right here is the quick, fast technology. Like I said, we in a microwave mindset nowadays. We in a microwave momentum. We in a movement of fast-paced everything. Everything is done in a quick form. Um, this is how we operate. You know what I mean? So I'm also sorry about that. I apologize. I'm also streaming on another platform on my Meta glasses. So I want to also get that platform a little bit of what I'm doing and add that to that other platform too. Also, so yes. Also in that text, it states in the text that we have thus far, the New Testament was written by various authors in the first century AD. Okay, primarily Christians. Now, Christianity is a, how can I state this? A different type of following or a different type of covenant or a group or a label that is pretty much stating that these people identify within that group of followers of the Most High's, will and his testaments and his commandments, but they put a identity on themselves as Christians. Just like a person can say Baptist, I'm a Baptist, or a person can say I'm a atheist, or a person can say I'm a, orthodox, so on so a label on themselves, and they crusade for that purpose, but they follow a different way of management. You know what I mean? This includes figures like Paul, Peter, and others. So in that group, they put a label on themselves. So with that label stating that they are of this group that follows that purpose, that path, that writing, that scripture, but they're pretty much under this. You know how you that's this record label, that's Death Row, that's Bad Boy, and they all do hip hop, right? They all do rap, they all do gangster rap, but they represent it under a different label or brand of what they are. But when it comes down to just the pretty much the meat, of the situation, the meat and the bulk of it, it's pretty much music itself, rap, hip hop. But like I said, when you put these different names on it, it's different names. So music itself is music, right? But under music, there's different genres of music. You have rap music, you have pop music, you have hip hop music, you have gangster rap, you have drill music, you have uh, K-pop, you have country, you have country dance, you have come from different sectors of our planet, our different areas, our countries. They then represent a different type of format of talk, language, dialogue, culture, and they use that type of attribute to express it in a way that their people understand. And then when they bring it to the masses, that's when you put a label on it, like a Christianity. This comes from the Muslim area because they're from this Middle East area. This comes from um, the Western civilization area. So this is more of a Christian or either a Catholic. This is from another area. So this is much more of a Buddhist. You see what I mean? So everything is a label. That's somewhat of the origins, meat and bulk of what that is, right? So we know in the Bible it states the Most High created everything. He created the animals. He created the waters. He created the rain. Then he created man. Man, he seen man was lonely. He stated that he would make a companion for man. Mankind didn't know what a companion was because mankind had no comprehension of what anything was. He just knew that his purpose was to serve the Most High because the Most High, the Creator, created all things. And at that time, mankind had a relationship with the Creator of life, Creator of all existence. He understood the universe. Mankind had more knowledge, but he was not knowledge of his own endeavors or uh, self determinations of what he felt was much more of a priority. Mankind's priority was much more of an endeavor or a thing to where he wanted to serve the Creator. Okay, so that was the whole purpose of mankind, to serve the Creator, to fulfill His word, His work, his value of what the Creator of life wanted him to fulfill at that moment in time and for eternity until the Creator decided that he was not, you know, paying any attention or whatever the situation may be. I'm not sure because I'm not in knowledge of all existence. Okay, I just know somewhat of a portion of knowledge. So I'm just giving you what interpretation I understand from my perspective. So right then, he created man. So he put man to sleep for a certain amount of days. He took a rib from his body. He created a woman. A woman is a companion of a man. That's why it's a man and one man, you know, because she's still a part of a man. She comes from one man and she's existed to fulfill his need because all the other life forms on the planet had a companion. Bird had a companion, a dolphin had a companion, everything had a companion for them to reproduce and recreate. And the Most High wanted to recreate. And he made also, I forgot to put, he made man in his image, in the image of us. So that means that whatever entities that worked under the Most High also have a familiar image like the Most High, but they're not in the same image. But he said, make them in our image. So he's talking to other entities that we don't know about. So as the story goes, we know mankind is there. We know that all of a sudden, the Most High is so into his creations. He's infatuated at looking at these things because there's so much in, you know, the form of what he kind of resembles. And he likes these things because they walk, they do things, they laugh, they giggle, they have somewhat of his personality because he placed that in us. Um, and then from there, he then hears that some of his own in the place where the Most High dwells, there's also other entities that have jobs. Some of them are musically inclined, some of them are poetry inclined, some of them are speakers that speak the word of praise. They're very intuitive, and they have a spiritual sense that the Most High created in them to do so and do forth. And these beings have been created way before existence we even knew about. So they have things that we don't understand. Now, when it comes to a soul, I guess we're the only ones that possess that type of format. You see, I don't know what these other things possess. So thus far, we hear that these things get very deceitful. They don't like us. They come down and start defiling themselves. Now, that means that during that time, the man and woman that the Most High created procreate beings are other entities, and that these things that were with the Most High in His kingdom, then if these entities are supposed to be different from us, how would they have a sexual attraction to a woman that we have an attraction to? That means other than that, they must be familiarized and also have the same uh, type of structure as us when it comes to sexual anatomies. You know what I mean? Privates and everything of that nature. They must have the same type of format of a penis or in a vagina. So that means there must be other female entities in that area or must be called under another name because other than that, why would they get attraction to something? You see what I mean? Like that means arousement when you're seeing a woman. Like, you know, when you see a female good and she has a nice body, she looks good, takes good care of herself, everything smells good, you get some type of attraction to her. Now, if something's above you that you've never seen an entity, a deity, or whatever these things are, Anunnaki or whatever they are, a world-renowned existence, creations of the Most High, had some type of spark in them to where which they wanted to have some type of desire to make some compassion, love with a woman, they must have some type of same thing that exists in that realm of the kingdom of the Most High that has the same familiar type of body or either structure as a female on this planet or existence that we live in. So they came down to defile themselves amongst the wives of man, the daughters of man. Remember, the daughters of man, and they had children. These children became what they call the Nephilim, the what do you call those? What is his name again? Wow. Well, we know we have Zeus, we have Hades, we have all these different things, Icarus, all these different things. We have those in there. We have giants, we have Anunnaki, um, and then we also have Titans. Titans are something that is Chronos, size of a damn, you know, a state. So these things was like they were sizes of states, are near the size of a state, like a city. So can you imagine something as big as a city walking around? That's very gigantic. That's like beyond existence. And at that time, because the earth was, it was very fruitful, and the earth was just anew. The air quality was more, so they said that mankind was bigger than normal, so bigger in size. So when these Anunnaki, these Nephilim, these Titans, or whatever they were called, came down to earth, They had they defiled themselves amongst the women. They created children who became demigods, who became things that people worship in these temples, things of that nature. This is what we carry to this day. That's why you have the. And then when these things came down, when the Most High found out, He cast them all out of the heavens. They came to the ground with their leader. The leader then made a manipulation. Now, there's a lot to take in and interpret when it comes to where did it all start. When I'm talking about the existence of mankind, the existence of human culture, the existence of us, period, as life forms on this planet. Because when they stated that they came down, right, and they took the daughters of man. So that means that when Adam and Eve was here, they procreated so much that they had children who had children. And they never ever defiled the Most High's will until when the Most High cast out one of his main soldiers or his right hand man or a person that had existed with him. So this is another kind of like foggy area. Now, this person has many names, and there's many type of devils, deities, demons, things of this nature, and they all have these different names. So that part is kind of really foggy. We don't really know where it comes from. We don't know who's these individuals, what they are, what they look like, but we know they look similar to us. They have master manipulation power in trillions of years of game. And this right hand man of the Most High, the creator of all existence, had power that was not equal to the Most High, but he had power that was below the Most High. So, and we don't know when he was existent, when he brought one to existence, if he was there the whole time with the Most High, if he's been there. We don't know if the Most High comes from a realm of existence where we just don't know anything. We're pretty much in the dark with all information and knowledge. And this is what the creator of life wants us to be, because our whole purpose is to be here to praise and give him the glory, right? The creator of all life. And we know him because it has to be a male, because he puts his name as the Most High, the creator of all existence. I am what I am because I am of all that exists, and that is what I am. So he is of all existence. He's of all things. He's your life. He's your eyes. He's your ears. He's the dark. He's the light. He's the happiness. He's the wind. He's all existence. Okay. This is what states in the Bible of the origins of where did it all start. This is what I'm trying to state to you. So when it all started, that's how it was put together. Then we hear that the female, so we know now the daughters were defiled, they were having sex. There's multiple kids on this planet. We also found out later on that some of the ones that fell, they also had sex with animals and other entities here that we don't know about. So that's another thing that we don't know what they had sex with, what animals they interpret with, because I said, hey, I kind of questioned, I had not a debate, but a conversation with a relative of mine, and I was like, if these things fell from the sky or fell from another plane of existence, were cast here because they defiled themselves amongst the children of the Most High, and they had sex with the children, and then they also had some type of relationship with what we would call other lower life forms in existence, which are animals, because the beast is supposed to be below us, right? We have domain over all the beasts of the land, all of the creepy things that crawl on the ground, the oceans, all existence falls under us. This is what we're told. Now, don't quote me, because I don't know ish really when it comes to the whole truth of knowledge. That's what I'm trying to state to you. This podcast is based on theoretical entertainment purposes, and the views discussed here are from a knowledgeable and somewhat experienced standpoint. So experience comes from reading, and knowledge comes from understanding the knowledge that I read. So I give you my interpretation, but my theory of the interpretation, so that way you can define it into where you figure what parts you can decipher. So yeah. these things defile themselves amongst the beast. So when they have sex with the beast, they produce things like, if I'm a fallen entity that has abilities that's beyond mankind's understanding, and I'm able to change my reproductive organs to have sex with a dolphin, hmm, I can make a dolphin type entity that's somewhat like me, but not like me, but it will have some type of origins in DNA and existence of me. So are mermaids really real? Remember, only I think 30% of the ocean has been discovered. Only 30%. We barely even know it's in the Mariana Trench all the way. We know how far it goes, but we cannot explore in there deeply all the way. And there's multiple trenches like the Mariana Trench. There's ones that's even deeper than that they can't even get to because of the pressure. And there's parts of the ocean they can't get to because the pressure changes. And if you don't know, there's four sides of the ocean, like four corners of the earth, and each side of the ocean has a different type of mass of water. So the body of the water changes. We have one that's really green, we have one that's dark, we have one that's clear, and then we have one that's icy, cold, and blue. So it's different types of the ocean, different parts of the ocean, different some entities of animal can live in each part, but they differ from structure based upon the pressure of water and how the water itself, you know, the materials in the water. So with that said, we don't know what these entities had sexual orientation with in the ocean. Now, they had sexual orientation with things that can fly, with beasts of the land, with bugs, things of this nature. It's so much stuff that they had going on here. So then we find out that the one that was close to the Most High fell down. Now he was able to manipulate his body structure into any entity he wanted to. So letting you see that this entity that the Most High is pretty much fighting against, and that's trying to attack us here while we're on this plane of Earth, has the ability to shapeshift. So in this day and age of where did it all start, we hear about all these things from the past about shapeshifters, vampires, vampirin, werewolves. What do you call those things that come from the Irish culture that have they scream real loud? It's just so many different type of entities that have some type of origin that has a familiarity of what this thing can do. So this thing was able to change itself to a snake. So it deceived the woman, the mother of all the children that these things that fell from the Most High's plane, his kingdom, that he kicked out, defiled her children, and had sex with them and created all these other things. Now, at this whole time, she doesn't really have knowledge of self, but they have knowledge of sexual orientation. They have knowledge of feelings and emotions somehow. Because in order to have a experience of love, you have to have some type of experience of physical knowledge and self-knowledge and awareness of what you're doing. You have to have some type of thing with you. You just don't just somebody just doesn't come grab you by the butt cheeks and just start going ham on you, and you just it doesn't work like that. It works like more of a casual conversation, discussion. Two people have a mutual liking of each other, then they lay down with each other, and then they procreate. So when they procreated all this time, she wasn't aware of her own, I guess, point of view, I guess, of what she wanted to, and her determinations of what she wanted to establish in this existence. So she was then tricked into eating, I guess, the truth of knowledge, and then that's when everything awoke to her, arise. And then in that interpretation, when it comes to the knowledge of truth, many people say it's different things. People say it's the word of knowledge. People say they were able to find a place the Most High had that had some type of wisdom. That's where the wisdom tooth comes from, where they can understand and speak knowledge, because that's what people say that is. Then some people say, oh, no, that's not it. They had a awakening, epiphany of knowledge based upon some glands in their brain, their third eye, that woke up and gave them knowledge of like, oh, look at me, I'm butt naked. Look at me, I'm this, I'm that. You know what I mean? Then people say, oh no, the fallen Anunnaki or the fallen deities are the Nephilim or the fallen angels because they have many, once again, many different names. So with those names being said, all those different names, they gave them knowledge. That's what they're saying. Because remember, also it said that they taught us how to create weapons, which is swords. They taught us how to use steel. They taught us how to create what we call welding, which something I'm studying right now. I just want to plug that in. Um, they taught us how to create um, things that we would wear, clothing. They taught us how to create certain goals that would enhance us. They taught us what to eat. They taught us more stuff than what we were supposed to know. They taught us science about the stars, what planet is what in existence, where they come from, where they actually were born at. They taught all this knowledge that we were not supposed to know. And some people say that's the reason why the Most High then cut off our direct connect with him. Like we can't talk. And then at that time also too, I heard that we were able to communicate with animals. So a lot of this is really, like I said, the origin of where did it all come from is very confusing because if you have people talking to animals, you have things fall from the damn sky, you have things having sex with creatures, and you got all this going on. This seems like a lot of chaos going on. So we hear later on the Most High gives this and that. Then we hear about Cain and Abel. Then we hear about, thus forth, then the man of Canaan, the land of Canaan. Then we hear about um, the place where everything was bad and the Most High flooded the earth. And then we hear later on, thus forth and thus forth. Then we got the Messiah comes and thus forth. So my interpretation is the Anunnaki could be considered the fallen angels. So the fallen angels divide themselves amongst men, the children, well, the women of mankind's daughters, and then they created what we call these titans. These titans were born, they grew up, stature up size. The titans then, they defiled themselves amongst women and other things that were here, created other things, and some of them were not big as they were supposed to be, and some of them were big. So some of them were able to have sexual relations somehow, and also members still too, the Anunnakis here, so they created what we call the demigods. The demigods were like people like, you would say, like Zeus, Hercules, people with unbelievable abilities, had unbelievable knowledge, had unbelievable skill. So then they had sex, right, with women too also, and procreated thus far and thus far on. Then we get the what we call all the events that happen in the Bible. We get the wars that happen in the Bible, different kingdoms. The Most High then only gives interpretation to certain human beings. He doesn't give it to all. He only, because remember, he cut it off with Adam and Eve, where he doesn't talk to nobody no more. He only picks who he wants to talk to. He only deciphers his message through a certain prophet that prophesies his word through his command, because we somehow did something wrong, which I find it to be true in that nature, but at the same time, I find it to be kind of something about the story doesn't give all the bits and pieces on how it started. So where did it all start? We don't really know. We don't really have 100% clue where did it all start at. We don't know who's who's what. The names have been changed. The cases have been changed. It has been rearranged. The origins of story has been rearranged. And then even in the Bible itself, some of the images of the deities and even the people that are in these biblical texts, their imageries have been changed from different nationalities to races. So, like I was stating to you, when it comes to the Most High to me is like the music itself. He's the existence of the music. The music itself comes in a format, which we see in symbols, which would be the Most High. Like he said, when he first created everything, his word came first. So I would interpret that as the symbols of the sound being his word. When his word came, that's when we heard music. Now, music itself then developed and grew on and forth, so on, until we have what we have now. Neo soul, soul music, R&B, gospel, gospel rap. We have so many formats of it, of existence. That's what I call it people. And these different type of cultures, they have a name for themselves. They have a different, diverse, you know, a history of what they are and where their origins came from and how they derive from this and that derive from that and that derive from that, so forth and so on. Because it's like the prophets, you have King David. You can go forth after that. You can go to the next king. You can go to the next one. We can go to Nimrod, the crazy one. That's supposed in the Bible, the one that tried to build the tower, and that's why the word, oh, you're a Nimrod, like you're a dingbat kind of a way, like you're crazy. That's why that interpretation is given to that, like you don't really think properly because you're trying to do something that's unachievable. So, in the origins of that, we have a somewhat understanding that that's where that comes from. But the Bible itself is something that you must interpret yourself. I will suggest reading it. I did read it. I read a lot of the Bible. I still read it to this day. It's a lot of chapters. Even reading a lot of it, I still don't understand it. I read it from the back, the front, the side, all things that I like, front, back, side to side. Yeah. Try to just, make it a little hip hop type of thing. But, you know, you know what I mean. I just read the Bible from the back of the book to the front of the book, and I try to get information, and I try to get a clear knowledge of understanding and decipher what they're saying because some of these things are blunt, and then some of these things are in a context of where they drop puns on you. They put it in different texts. They put it in a definition of defining something that is, but it also isn't. If you know what I mean, like it's very complicated, and then the wording itself is complicated. And at the same time, is numbering. So numbers itself also hold a key in existence too, because when the Most High first created the Word, He also counted the days. So the days also have a number to them, and the existence of mankind thus far, and the dates and times have a existence for each type of step that happened along the way or the path of each prophet or each person that interpreted and gave their written, definition of what was going on in their life in that Bible text. So it's a lot to open up and unpack when it comes to the Bible. And it's a lot to open up and unpack when it comes to where did it all start. We know the Most High is the creator of all existence, and the Most High is the creator of all there is, all there was, all there ever will be. That's my belief. That's where it started from. But we don't know the whole origin of all existence. We don't know all of that. That's some knowledge that is forbidden from us. And for some reason, we won't know that until the time comes to where we have to meet the Most High, the creator of all existence. Then we will get that knowledge deciphered to us, and then we'll have a better understanding of what happened, why this is here. Because remember, also we have Enoch, one of my favorite individuals in the book. There's not much written on Enoch, but we know Enoch is the only one of us that was able to descend. So that's another situation. What do they mean by descend? Did this nigga float up in the sky? Did he pass away peacefully? Did he evaporate and just his clothes dropped and his drawers and his pants was there and he just we don't really know the truth of what happened with old boy. We don't know what happened, what transpired. We don't know if they mean to sin. We don't know if it's a door opened up from the sky and he was lifted up. We don't know if he walked up some stairs. We don't have a good interpretation of what really happened. We just know old boy descended. So we don't know where he descended to. We don't know if he walked to the ocean. We don't know if he walked past the damn what you call it, the polar area where they posted supposedly we're living in a realm, and around us is a ice, polar ice. What's the name? Where we can't go past it because that's the other planets that we think that we're seeing in the sky. Really, is those from a distance that are watching us. So it's a lot to, like I said, to unpack and to interpret when it comes to where did it all start. We don't really know. But with that said, I'm gonna go into my first break, the Rose Room discussion with MLRose. I'm gonna play another slumper real quick, get you on that, I'm gonna bring you back. And while I do that, I can't really talk because my ting ting, it doesn't allow me to talk while I'm doing that.
You dopey bitch.
Yes, 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 yes. Light up the sky like the 4th of July. Everything in this life, son, they got two sides. It's part one, part two. Get together with my crew and we go do whatever we got to do. Beast but hot, technological, logical, it's unstoppable. Check it out, I'm fantastic. Furious like the 5 from Pelon, Brooklyn Phenom. This all peons, flow for eons. Most step is beyond the fact most cats can agree on. Is we on the same frequency? If not, change it down and get on it. I flip a Elizabethan neurobonics, keep heat like comics. We speech into deep street sonnets. Who want it? Hopping dance is so sonic and eat tonics. Don't get charged like your schoolboy comics or blazing on your man chronic. I twist the hard caps back to blue bonnets. I repeat, who want it? Their time on it is the time on a tradition of combustion, ignition, propulsion. Put them seeds on expulsion. The principle, your academics inadmissible, you're indefensible. My style is so comprehensible. Cats take at the heart like a ventricle. You temporary like a weather pattern. Forgotten like you never happened. They'll never say whatever happened to most. My light shine close from the east to the left coast. North and South both, cause it sound dope. Why your voice sound choked with the next man's style between your teeth, tongue and dope like oh. Got to wash your mouth up with soap. My pen stroke is leaving other men broke. What I invoke is never asleep, ever woke. It controls the soul of your foes and kinfolk. Maintain a scope from beginning to end. Like pretty high, no riders get clipped and shot down. Beats by high technological, neurological, unstoppable. Title better than shit. We proud. Raise your hands in the air, everybody get with it. The universe, oh, magnetically, B-boy scientific, you don't stop. Here go, pull to the rhythm, you don't bust it. So raise your hands in the air, everybody get with it. The universe, oh, magnetically, you see I'm coming to the party in the B-boy stands. A rocker on the mic, yo, son, it's in my chromosomes to rock this. I got this, watch this. Assemble my rap, tap your pockets, knock this. Stimulate nerve ends and chakras. Smart art, breaking apart hearts of darkness. Down for the longest, sun peak the songless. Radiate enormous, pure peak performance. Vocal cords the strongest, acapella a chordless. Hit town, draw crowds like space shuttle launches. We have let's go. We going in Brooklyn, New York, make the world moonwalk like John Glenn. So I'm sending it out for the short, the long haul. Earth, sky, left, right, in between and all. So raise your hands in the air, everybody get with it. The universal, magnetically, B-boy scientific, you don't stop. They go on to the rhythm, you don't
Bust it.
hands in the air, everybody get with it.
All right, that was my remix. One of uh the best lyricists, or one of the best lyricists, I think, in hip hop, most def. Much respect. Um, so my next topic is money. So the origins of money is crazy. Um, the origins of money is really crazy because we have multiple cultures using what we call paper or some type of format of payment in a coin or a, I would say, this shape or a shell or, excuse me, a piece of gold or something of that nature to get payment, or either we had other types of way that they did it, where they counted shingles. I think it's called shingles or something. I'm not sure of the name of it, but I'm going to figure out. So money goes back to 500 BC. Now we know that the word that they found, like I stated, from the Most High, thus far, this is what is given, the knowledge is given to us thus far on these platforms, social media platforms, and also in the digital look at 500 BC. Now I just told you about the origins of the Bible 1400 years ago. So 500,000, sorry about that, 500,000 years or 5,000 years BC. I said 500,000, 5,000 years. Okay. And the earliest forms of money, right? The use of metal objects for trade can be traced back to around 500 BC. The concept of standardized, regulated coinage is generally attributed to the kingdom of certain Turkey. It goes back to Turkey around the 7th century BC. Although evidence of similar, I would say, have also been, so China also has them too. Also, practices was done in China. So, but we don't know how far it goes back, you know. So, money itself is another thing. So, we have the word interpreted on paper. We have knowledge, information, what we call squires, people who wrote in those past times, interpreted on paper. We have kings' names put on paper. We have paintings placed on paper. We have all these things, and paper comes in multiple formats. It can be made a certain way for a certain type of ink or oil or just anything of that nature. Um, but also, it's brought into what we call a coinage or a way of paying or giving a person trade and bargaining with this dollar. It has a value now. And the value of a dollar is based upon what you can get with that value. So if you have $1 and say a head of corn costs 10 cents, you can get 10, 20, you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can get that amount. You see what I mean? So you get 8 things of corn, and then you can get more if you decide to take your other coinage to do so. But I'm saying to you, this is what this is. The system that we live in today is pretty much for trade and bargain, and equity, liability, and an asset is pretty much based upon a coinage and a dollar or a piece of paper that holds more weight than a life, pretty much. If this goes all the way back to BC, that's more crazy work right there. Because, what are they saying? That in that time that was 1400, what was it? Was they having cash money there? Because, that's why I said when it comes to the origins of everything, when it start, it's a lot to take in. Then the origins of money, it's a lot to take in. So, early money, use of metals. Prior to standardized coinage, people used various metals objects like bars and or wires to exchange goods and services. The use of metal for trade begun in Mesopotamia and Egypt around 4,500 years ago. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I don't want to murder that word too much because I'm not really. But yeah, it goes all the way back then. They're using coinage like metals. So remember, I was telling you back in the days, they found in Egypt they had coins, and the coins had some type of like stamp on it or something. So that's where we see in today's modern society where they have the coin that has each president's face, the date, all these type of things. It comes from a past history. So what I'm stating to you is that remember I was telling you about the Nephilim, the Anunnaki, all these people, all these things that came down from the Most High's realm and defiled themselves amongst the children and you know of men, which are the daughters, um, and they had some type of familiar, you know, sexual, organs like us. So the origins of coin, like I said, can be traced back and has a familiar type of same origins when it comes to a piece of metal or a circular or a square shaped object which that has a stamp or some type of mark or some type of creative drawing or writing or any indentment of something that shows um, value. So you can't get nothing from, you can't get something from nothing. That's what I'm about to say. Almost got tongue twisted there. I go again. Sorry, I apologize. But yeah, it's really strange. Like this little thing, healthcare, you can get a better place to live, you can get land, which we all know that if mankind didn't exist in a certain amount of time when the Most High, you know, created all existence, and they were later on made after a certain amount of days, that means that the land itself and the earth itself was never created by man. So, how can man all of a sudden now just take property and land and then say it's theirs? Which is another form of psychotic work to me, because back in the biblical days, we don't hear about a lot of stuff, but then we do. Because remember, the Most High gave certain tribes and certain people the land. Remember, he gave Canaanites, he told them that this is going to be their land. He told, remember, Cain, that nobody should ever touch you. If they ever touch you, they'll be cursed. You should have children. In that time, in your certain generation, one of them will come up out of that generation that will worship me. Another chant. I know they traded sheep, goat, cattle. Another chant. I know they traded sheep, goat, cattle, and I guess the man that had the most cattle and the sheep, if his son wanted to be married to a young lady with a family that had no sheep and cattle and goat, and they probably had two, while this man had probably seven, he would say, "Hey, my son wants your daughter. I will give you two goats and two cattle and four chickens or something." I don't know. I don't know how they bargaining system went in those days because everything is really, it's not written down in text. We don't have all the information, so we don't really know, and we can't talk to Enoch because he can't descend back and give us some knowledge. Because if he was a man, I would think he'll be able to still come back and forth. So we don't really know how this all works. Probably, for all you know, we probably can talk to Enoch. Probably, for all you know, he probably was the one that like, hey, he could be the middleman to holler at to go talk to the Most High. So we don't really know the truth. You know what I mean? And the origins of money itself is just pretty much, it's a lot to interpret. So we know early Egypt, Turkey, and we know China had a money system. So in that time, evolution of currency over time, various forms of money emerged, including paper money, which what we have now, which was introduced in China during the Song dynasty in the 11th century. The development of banknotes also began in the 7th century with local issues of paper currency. So, like I said, money changed in format and shape. The coin still exists. Well, the coin is the first piece of metal that existed. Then from the coin, it then evolved into what we call paper. Then paper evolved into currency paper, which was made to bank notes to put the note of the amount. So each piece of paper had a different value on the paper, from a $1 bill to a $2 bill to a $5 bill to a $10 bill, so forth and so on. So, like I said, this is a lot to unpack when we live in this society. These are some of the things that we take for granted. We don't have knowledge of, we don't do the work, we don't understand. And there's nothing that you cannot do. It's just that sometimes we tend to not want to do it because, it's just something that we're not wanting to do. It's just like you have freedom of knowledge. Knowledge is fundamental. It's fun to your mental to learn and understand and get a grasp on everything. Learn as much as you can. Every day to me is a process of I'm being taught something. I don't know everything in life. So just like right now when I'm reading what's on the internet and I'm also studying from college and my own theoretical, point of view, I'm mixing and stirring up knowledge to cook up something to see what that season, that flavor, what it's going to taste like, and then I'm going to feed it to people and see if they like it and if they have the same type of you know what I mean. This is what we do. So yes, money itself has a long history origin, and the origins of itself, you've seen where it came from, how long it's been here, and how many different dynasties and how many different countries itself had a different format of money. So everything is pretty much deep. And the deepness that we go into the what they would say into the you know, down the rabbit's hole, it's a lot to understand. But in this day and age, money has too much of a value to me. Um Money is here and it's gone. I don't really too much trip off of it because I get it and then it's gone. It's here, it's not here. Um, I get my money because I work. I get my tax money. I go to school. You know what I mean? I do all these things to get money. As you can see, like here, I just paid a whole bunch of bread to get you know, to get my stuff fixed. And as you can see, you know, that's 2 thou wow. You see what I mean? And that's money that I earned from working and from taxes and from going to school. So I let you see. Money is here and it's gone in a heartbeat. It's never something that you're going to be able to hold on to. Money, to me, I learned now, is a state of mind. Being rich is a state of mind. Um, you're going to be provided for every day in the society we live in. You see what I mean? There's food, water, air, everything to me. Everything to me is in richness. Life is being enriched. Being able to breathe is being enriched to me. Being able to have life itself is being an enrichment to me. Um, I know people say, "Oh, material wealth and the car and all these things." Yeah, those things are a value in your own mental. If you feel that that's what your life is based upon, material stuff. Because, like I said, if this whole society was to crash and money was to go to zero and had no type of equity in it, um, that wouldn't be a currency anymore. Now they could say your currency can be your education and what you know and your skill level and what you can do as a human being and how much you can contribute. So now they can say if you don't know no knowledge and no trade, or you don't know no information, or you can't work, or you don't really know what to do, you don't have no value. And if the whole dollar or the stock market crashes on all countries, then the paper itself, money wouldn't have no value neither. Now I can go by once again what you know how to take care of yourself, if you know how to hunt, if you know how to fish, if you know how to sow, if you know how to farm, these things may become a value now. So money itself to me is not really something that I can never really hold on to. It comes and it goes all the time. It's never like a thing to where I know I'm going to have for the rest of my life and existence. Like I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be a billionaire because there's no there's enough money on this planet to make every person on this planet or every person in America a billionaire and thus forth and so on in all existence. There's enough money to where each person that lives here can start off with, I think they said $10 million. So that you see, money a who likes them, uh, what their value is. It's pretty much a fake thing to me. Because if you let a piece of paper value what you are in existence, and that's a joke. Because, like I said, in the biblical days, they didn't have money, paper. You see what I mean? Thus far, what we've seen or what I just read to you, they had a steel coin, they had pieces of gold, they had trade and bargaining. So if it didn't mean nothing then, why does it mean so much now? You see what I mean? Think about it. The technology that we have now, um, for some reason, is not even advanced as the technology that they had in the past. Like I was stating to you, that we can't even recreate some of the stuff that they have in the past now. And in the past, they had much more knowledge of who they were and what they were, and was much more healthier, and the food was much more healthier. As we digress and progress, it seems like everything is getting worse. Our values of self are getting worse. Our existence amongst each other is getting worse. Our our whole mindset of who we are and what we are is becoming worse. Um, Money to me is also like race. It's each value of a dollar currency holds a different type of note. Um, the one note can be considered this race, the two note can be considered that race, and the value of that note is considered value to what? And you have to stack up that many to get that much value in order to get some type of, you know, recognition. So it's really a joke to me. But in this society that we live in this day and age, and this 21st century that we're in, and this we're leaving out of Aquarius, which to me is another thing that I don't really understand neither when it comes to all these signs and these different things of this nature, because I just know that there's a lot of confusion, and I think things are much more simpler than what they really pan out to be, and we kind of make everything complicated by creating things that only destroy us and cause us more chaos. Because ever since the invention of money and having value with certain coins there are bills, it's become a struggle amongst everybody. The trees outside are free, so that means that the air around you is free. So if the Most High created trees that are free and they grow everywhere, who decided the value for anything else when mankind itself that never created anything like this? They never even created this planet. And if the Most High created a planet with trees that are free, and air that is free, and water that's free, and land that's free, and existence that's free, and to praise Him is free, why all of a sudden now are we paying money to somebody just to be able to live and survive in a society that's not really controlled by no one, but those who just dictate it based upon a piece of paper? It's really deep, man. It's deep, but this is where we at. Yep, shout out to. Yep. Just a little new jump off. But yeah, um, that's crazy, bro. We let this thing that was made years and years ago that caused so much war. Money has caused war. It has caused the breaking of relationships. It has caused the destruction of societies. It has caused the devalue of human life. It has caused the um, the whole planet to have, you know, a perception of a person based upon a piece of paper. And paper itself, like I said, has been here for centuries, used for multiple different things. And mankind found one of the most unuseless uses for it, to value each other based upon it. And that's where we're at now. I can't tell you when everything's going to change, but from my perspective, I feel like one day the dollar's going to just fall, and it's going to happen to every last country. Excuse me. And when that happens, what would be the value then? That's something you got to ask yourself. What's going to be the value after that when everything collapses? When the internet goes out all over the world, when all the power goes out all over the world? Will we go back to the Stone Age? Will we go back to a much more less complex era of life? Will now women procreate with men just based upon love and happiness? Because like I said, I think these type of things cause a lot of problems, in my community, being impoverished and not having a lot of fathers in the household, and them introducing a more independent woman type of status in our culture, and then devaluing the fathers or the men. Look what it has caused throughout our whole generations based upon the dollar. If the Most High gave you everything else for you, why you don't have no faith in the Most High that He's going to give you everything else? He's provided for you all the way thus far. And you get to a certain age to where the dollar bill is your main perspective, that you now feel like everybody else is below you because of a piece of paper. When they strip all that stuff from you that you bought with that dollar bill, you're going to still be you. When that dollar bill has no value, you'll still be you. And the value to me is the way how you get along and you respect others and you treat others and you treat yourself like you treat others in a peaceful manner. But like I said, I digress. This day and age is something else, man. It's very tricky. I can't state that I'm wrong or I'm right. I can't tell you what is and what's not, but when it all started and where did it start from was before me. And like I said, money, this whole existence is something really deep. I'm going to come back with my last two topics. I'm going to get into another slap real quick. And then just go ahead and think about that, man, real quick. Put that in your mind. Put it through the grinder. Let you go through that. This is something I made a remix a long time ago with MF Doom. Rest in peace. It was something I liked. Put it on a project. It didn't get light of day, but I still like playing it.
Wait in my sleep sometimes, blare it in your Jeep so your peeps can stare at the rhymes. Real rhymes, not your everyday hologram. Even when ribs is touching, never swallow the ham. You'd rather eat a sand sandwich salad. It might need salt like your man's bland ballad. A lot of stuff happens that the news won't tell you. Blues on L juice, snooze all hell loose. Break it, take it like the good, the bad, the ugly. Break it rolling through your hood in the caddy buggy. Butter softy leather, floss and fatty juggy. Always threw me off when she told me daddy funked me. I'm like any who's sees walking all out in the street without any shoes. I guess it's better than some funky socks. You need to get her some skips before she catch the monkey pox. She wanna hear the beatbox, take pills and make fake krills, the sheetrock. Sing it, bring it back to your laboratory. While he's in his oratory, glorious like a horror story. The mask is like Jason, he told the place not to let the basket type case in. He might be some type of wacko, looking for a chance to heat the pipes like a crack hole. He said, blessed be the Lord, who believe any mess they read up on a message board. If so, I got a bridge for the Lolo. Them tight fools go into the popo. Here, orange peel else for the whole tier. Feel like he been going the whole year, came home to old gear. It was just issue when he first scooped it. At least you get to sit out in New York and curse stupid. He plead the fifth and sip wine stiffly. Patiently come up and be spiffy in a jiffy. Gift with the grind, criminal mind, shifty cat. Swift with the 9 through a 5950 hat. You hear it when you meditate in deep data. That I hate, a creep plater. Dedicated cheap skater who keep data. Stay well self-medicated to sleep later. Side effects are similar to sugar pills. Nobody go next on the mic, he put a booger in.
Ill. Yeah. I'm back. Dark brown. Close to black. But I'm down. All right. So We talked about where did it start, money, and now I'm going to go into music. So, music is a universal human trait that is believed to have existed since the early stages of human history, with evidence of musical instruments and vocalization dating back to as far as 40,000 years ago. Okay. So we got 14 we heard the Bible, that they found some interpretation of the Bible. Then we got the money system was longer than that, 5,000. Then we got 40,000 years when it comes to music. So some of this information, like I said, is based on a theoretical standpoint. It's not based on actual true facts because some of these scholars and people themselves are theorists. They go by, like I just stated to you. They visit certain areas, they get the knowledge, they get the information, they interpret it in their way, they research it, and they come with their own theses, and that thesis pretty much goes through a bunch of other scholars and people that have degrees and all this type of stuff, and they decipher it and say, you know what, thus far, that's as much information we can get on this subject, and we can gather all the masses of it, and it pretty much fits the narrative of what we perceive as right. So yeah. Yeah. They say they can't pinpoint the specific date of the creation of music because it's difficult. Evidence suggests it emerged alongside other forms of art, communication, in prehistoric societies. So prehistoric is pretty much before BC, before Christ. So there's a lot of different, like I said, eras, existence. Remember, I was telling you about the Tartarian Empire. There's a lot of empires that existed before that. Um, the Earth itself was like a gigantic grave, really. When you really look at it, if you go to the desert, they can go to the desert now and probably dig up 10 civilizations here before them, and they don't even know what the hell they're talking about sometimes. So there's no true knowledge or information because mankind knows somewhat, but we don't know the origins of everything. We just get the interpretation of what we have and the deciphering and the written text of what other scholars have brought to us. But the origins of all things, it's improbable and impossible to know. It's that there's no way. We don't even know what all the planets are. We don't even know how the solar system is put together. We don't even know our own ocean. We barely know about each other's DNA. They have DNA that's found in certain nationalities, which is a lot in people of my nationality that they call junk DNA. There's no such thing as anything as a creator making something that's junk. As we can see, trees are used for toothpaste, penicillin, everything else. Um, we even know a damn gopher's anal hole is used for making vanilla. So if all these things have some type of truth to it, nobody really knows what is what. You see what I mean? We barely know what the hell is inside of Taco Bell meat. Barely know what you're eating at McDonald's, So we don't really know a lot. We just interpret our own situations. And this is how it goes. This is how it plays out. You know, you got to live and learn. Um, so Sumerians, that's another group I forgot to exist because the Sumerians, sorry about that. I apologize. When I talk about where did it start, the Anunnaki created the Sumerians, which was, I think the Sumerians are a group that were, um, I think Enoch derived from the Sumerians, and I think also your friend Nimrod. Now, don't quote me. I'm not sure. That's supposed to be the men of great stature. They're supposed to be like 9 feet tall, weigh at least around probably like you know 700 to close to 1,000 pounds. They was very muscularly built men. If you, like I said, if you go to San Francisco, California, and you're down by, I would say, I think it's Civic Center, BART station. Don't quote me if I'm wrong. I think it's Civic Center. And if you go up a little bit more, you'll see a statue of Nimrod. They said that this man was so tall and so big in stature, he was able to pick up a lion, a full grown lion, like it was a mere little cat. And it's a statue of him. He's holding a full grown lion like it's nothing. And the lion's trying to scratch him, like you know how most cats are when you grab them by the mane or by the back of their, fur, they want to get loose. But he was so strong that none of that didn't, the scratches didn't even bother him. And he's like smiling and he has like a big weapon and that right there. So they say that this man was very big in stature. So I was about to say Sumerians, I forgot to add them in there. We have the Atlanteans. It's so many different groups. But back to the situation of origin. Music was interpreted from different cultures, races, and that's what I was trying to say to you. Remember, I was saying the origins of the Most High, the conversation, the words, the numbers, all what music is. Music is hymns, conversations. It's it's notes. It's wording. It's numbering. It's all in that. So I said, if the Most High is itself, the creator of all life, I would put the Most High as music itself, the word music. And from music derives all other music. Now, I'm not saying I interpret the Most High as music. I'm just saying I'm using that as a theoretical standpoint, like you know what I mean. Like in layman terms, I'm just saying you can put the Most High as the word music, and from music you can get every genre of music, of interpretation of His word as the music itself. So ancient Greeks had music, Egyptians had music, um, and some of the formats of music, we don't even know all the formats of music because some of the music they said was used to summon and worship the Most High. They have certain hymns and certain notes of certain instruments that was able to conjure up spiritual um, deities or entities or things of that nature, or to get a better um, worship and prayer with the Most High. Because remember, the Most High loves to be praised. He loves to have music of cheer and joy that shouts and gives him the glory through his name. So, and in the movie Sinners that came out recently with the actor Michael B. Jordan, um, I think in that movie there's a gentleman, he plays an instrument and he's gifted with a talent, and through that instrument, um, through his ancestors and bloodline, he can that these things heard the music. You see what I mean? So what I'm trying to state to you, it's been written and documented throughout history that some of these deities, some of these fallen people or fallen things that came from the kingdom of the creator of all existence, they were good at music. And remember, I told you when they procreated with the daughters of man, that DNA that you call junk DNA, that scientists are supposed to be so far advanced knows everything else. To me, what people know more advanced is trying to destroy each other. Um, please believe it. I put my life on that. I put my existence on that. That's the only thing to me that mankind has a science of knowledge of is destruction of each other. Other than that, they don't have no knowledge of building, creating, becoming better, having love, having peace, having understanding amongst each other. They just have knowledge of chaos, destruction, and being self-centered and destroying each other. That's the only knowledge I see that really prospers in this day and age, or thus far since I've been on this planet. Um, because the other knowledge that they have, every scientist I heard that has made a cure for some dies somehow. Uh, Go figure. But yes, some of these instruments are locked away at these museums. One of the museums, we already know which one it is. They have all the bones of the, I would state, of the giants or some of these entities or deities, and also at the main church that has a connection with all of the governments. These instruments are so powerful that they don't want nobody to get a hold of because some people's bloodline, like I said, once again, it has what we call junk DNA in their terminology. Um, really is a spiritual bonding, and their gift is from that, what they were given. Like, when you have a mother and a father, you take different similarities of them. You may have your mother's face, you may have your father's body structure, you may have your mother's build, you may have your father's face, you may have, you see what I mean? Like, children always take attributes of the person that procreated them, and then they have those type of same somewhat skills. You ain't gonna get nothing but get drunk and get out of pocket and get crazy and shoot one of the people that you're related to, and you're just bugging around in the area. You're just a neighborhood of nuisance. So um, this mindset is really crazed. It's so crazed to where we're controlled by these things. Like I said, money dictates now what type of value we have as a human being, how we treat others and how we value others. And then music itself, to me, that can dictate your popularity, can dictate. And like I said, we still don't know how Enoch evolved or went to and pretty much left. We don't know. Did he leave by playing one of these instruments? Don't know. Did he leave because he paid some money? We don't know. Did he leave by the Most High? We don't really truly understand none of it at all. We just basically are children learning on a day-to-day basis. And like I said to you, I don't do this stuff to just make you laugh, or I'm not trying to make you doubt anything. I'm just saying to you that we don't have the true knowledge of everything there is. We don't know the name of every tree on this planet. Can you meet anybody on this planet that can tell you the name of every leaf, every plant, and every tree that ever existed? You'll find no one. Just like they can't tell you what type of animals existed. They can't tell you what type of life forms of human being existed on this planet. They can't tell you even every race that existed. They don't even know. This is a day-to-day basis of learning. And we do learn through the Most High, yes. And we also learn by trial and error. And we also learn by, understanding. So with that, I'm going to get to my last topic. And that is the one I'm going to leave you with. And after that, we're going to be done. And I thank you and appreciate you. And this is one more slapper I'm going to put on, because I got to go work out around probably 9 o'clock. So I hit that 9, 10, 11. So by 11, I'm about to get ready to go to sleep. So get that nice, 3-hour workout in. Mm-hmm.
You can't trust the police. What is this, Vice City, nigga? You can't trust the police. Quit giving him the business. Boy, what's that over there? Boy, what's that over there? Full metal, full metal. Boy, what's that over there? Full metal. Boy, what's that over there? Planet of Fear. We'll certainly kill him. Full metal, full metal. Full metal, full metal.
That's for years of humiliation, bitch.
You can't trust the police. Vice City, nigga. You can't trust the police. Quit giving him the business. Boy, what's that over there? Boy, what's that over there? Full metal, full metal. Boy, what's that over there? Full metal. Boy, what's that over there? Planet of Fear. We'll certainly kill him. Full metal, full metal.
That's for years
right, all right. Yep. The Rose Room discussion with MLRose. All rights reserved by Trademark Intelligent Sounds since 2019. Let you know that the music I play is an interpretation of what's going on in society, um, what my feelings are at the moment, um, what's happening in news and social media and platforms of that nature. So don't take it personal. It's not a direct targeting of anybody. It's nothing to disrespect anybody. It's just something I just use as a tool to pretty much give my interpretation of life and what's going on in events that's happening. Um, I do not promote anybody getting harm or any harm towards anyone or any person or any group or any type of individual practicing any type of different form of lifestyle. I just make music. I do not mean to harm or cause any type of discomfort or disconnect or disrespect to anyone. So please don't take it personal. I'm not targeting you. I'm not planning to aim at you. I'm not planning to do anything out of nature to anyone. It's just music that I create. With that said, my last topic is existence. So, existence itself, we all exist right now at this day and age and moment. We all exist as life forms on this planet. Existence itself is defined as the fact, a state of living or having objective reality. So, knowing what you are, who you are, you have the existence of what you are, what you pretty much are. So, and also, too, existence is the state of being alive or being real. For example, you and your best friend disagree and exist. Like, I mean, well, they didn't give a great example. Existence of, well, you disagree in existence of something. So it's the interpretation of something that is an actual fact or an actual entity that is in real time that you can see, grasp and has life itself. So when I put that on there for that reason that we all exist for a purpose, that's really what my interpretation that I wanted to talk about. I'm just giving you the what the dictionary and all these other things that's on the web breaks down what existence and their meaning of it, because most people go by what's in the dictionary and everything else anyway. So to me, existence is in real time. We all exist in real time. We're all here. We all are serving a certain um, purpose in life. We're trying to achieve something in life. We're trying to find a common goal, or we're trying to find our own goals that we place to put ourselves in a better position to achieve something in life. So I exist to keep my whole, you know, art and my creations and my ideas and my inventions and my statue of a person or my attributes that I have done in society. I exist to keep those flowing and giving other people, um, inspiration through watching me and knowing the things that I've been through in life and seeing that they can make it out and do what they want to do and, you know, reach their destiny of their desire. So I exist to do my own thing. I exist to create more music. I exist to give the Most High the glory. I exist to praise my Creator, to exalt Him, to magnify His name. I exist to spread the word to others about His wonders, His salvation that He has given me. I exist you know, to just give Him the glory. That's what I exist in my mind. Now, other people may exist for other reasons. Some people feel like they exist to be the perfect specimen of, a physical standard. Some people exist to be the most smartest, intelligent human being. and to show others that they can achieve any goal that they set their mind to. Some people exist to be the best um, person that has art. You know, they want to be the best artists. They exist to show others that they can create stuff that is of another aspect of thought, of something that is abstract, and create their own interpretation of life. They exist to do that. So you have so much in existence that exists. So it's like, you know, the existence itself is something that is beyond time, space, and the realm of fathom of anything that we can even imagine and comprehend. Like I said, the Most High exists in a realm that we have no clue of. The creator of life, the Most High God, the Heavenly Father, the creator of all existence. He exists, well, the creator exists in something that we cannot see, we cannot smell, we can't taste, we have no knowledge of. And his rival exists in a realm around us that we can't see, we don't know about, but we hear about at night. We hear about at nighttime. He comes around. At this time, he comes to have friendship. We exist to just keep, you know, balance of life itself. You know, animals themselves have a what we would call a circle of life, and the existence of that circle of life is, you know, you have the worms that are beetles, are flies that come from the itself, the are maggots that come from the body that are entity of the animal that deteriorates. When those things are deteriorating, something eats upon those, then something eats upon that, then something eats upon that, then thus forth and so on, till it gets back to the same circle of life, and that thing then dies away, and then it starts all over again. So it never stops. Existence keeps going. It's like a plant itself. A plant has seeds, right? We see the plant grows from the ground up. It sprouts at a certain time. The seeds disperse, um, repopulate another area. That plant dies away, and then starts all over again. It just keeps going. It never stops. So existence to me is like, you know, numbers. Um, there's no non-stopping numbers. They just keep going up and up and up and up and up and up, and it never stops. It's like looking at the coding. You can do coding in different letters, right? But when there's letters, right, you can put letters in different type of formats. Put them in Old English. You can put them in Surf. So if you're doing coding, you can have a number in multiple different formats. And in that coding, you can have other numbers in multiple different colors and formats. And it just keeps going. Just doesn't stop. You can have a red zero to an orange zero. That's in surf. You could have a green and yellow zero. That's in comic strip, or in any type of any format of writing. It just goes on and on. It just never stops. It's just like interpretation of existence is it's infinity and beyond, just like they would say with Buzz Lightyear, infinity and beyond. But yeah, it's beyond all existence. We don't know. That's why we don't know all the things that exist, like they stated. And right now in our ocean, we don't know how deep the ocean goes. We don't really know what really exists in the ocean itself. We know things are there, just like have you ever been in your room at night and you feel like someone's watching you? You feel like something exists there, but you can't see it. Sometimes you may get a glimpse of something that passed by real quick, but you didn't see it, but something exists. So its existence itself is so all the foods, all of the different how can I state this? Emotions and feelings we get around people. Just everything's infinity. We don't know what is and what's not. So with that said, I just want to let you know that while you're here and you're living now, make sure you enjoy your life. Make sure when you exist for a purpose, but make sure that you are doing everything and gathering as much knowledge and information and self awareness and trying to interpret or gather or sponge, soak up everything you can. Because, like I said, it's so much to learn here, so much to unpack. It's just It's like it's just it's phenomenal. It's a great creation. That's how I know in my heart there's a Most High, there's a Creator of all life, because it's no way in heck if this was a simulation. Um, a simulation has a format of what all exists, and that format has to go by a system of what exists, and it has to go by a certain type of entities that exist, and the entities in the game are numbered, stationed, designed, everything else. In this existence that we live in, there's nothing we understand. So, with that said, I'm going to leave you with that. Make sure you just, experience life. There's a lot of countries, cultures, races, not races like racism. I'm talking about race, like race, different nationalities. I'll put that in better interpretation that you can learn from. People with wisdom, um, different type of styles of thinking, um, uh, what they call it, pretty much critical thinking. Um, it's just a lot of stuff we can all gather from each other. So don't be afraid to live life and understand what's going on around you, because it's a beautiful thing to me. I'm happy. I don't need trillions of dollars, but it wouldn't hurt to get it. But yeah. I want to thank you for tuning in to the Rose Room discussion. MLRose. Sorry about the in and outs. Sometimes I have these little things with the network because I don't know why. Some probably, who knows, could be an Anunnaki or some lizard man or something watching my show. Who knows? Or a ghost or whatever. But yeah. Um I appreciate you. You have a good day, good night. Happy memorials to you. My uncle was a war vet. My grandfather was a war vet. I have three cousins that's in the military, so I'm gonna salute all of them, show them love. I'm gonna enjoy my memorials tomorrow. Uh, Hope you have a good one with your family. Much love and thank you. I ain't gonna play no music on this show, but I'm gonna leave you on that note.